Hello, anybody who sees this video. I'm Lee, and this is my first real YouTube video. It's going to be a 6-month plant before and after. So I've got a lineup of 6 of my houseplants. I'm going to show you how they're doing. I'm going to do some maintenance on them, and then I'm going to come back in 6 months and show you how they've changed. So right now it's the end of October, so I'm going to be updating this in early April, which is going to be a long time from now, so this probably won't be the first YouTube video that I actually post, but it's the first one that I'm filming. It's probably time to show you the plants. This one is a philodendron royal queen, and as you can see, if you know a lot about houseplants, you'll notice something really funny about the way this is set up, and it's the fact that the moss pole is so small, and they should always be bigger than this. This is kind of crazy how small it is. It's so small that it doesn't really give the plant a chance to use it to grow bigger. And my mistake was just that I was making my moss poles based on the size that the plant already was, when in reality you should make them based on the size that you want the plant to be. So really, I just want to go in here and make a new one, just so that, you know, I can give this plant a better chance of having crazy results after the winter. And of course, since this plant before and after is happening during the winter, you don't have as dramatic houseplant growth during the winter. There's colder temperatures, there's less light, but with, you know, if you add supplemental grow lights and stuff, you can still see pretty good growth during the winter. It just won't be quite as good as summer, so I think I'm still gonna do the video anyway. It can get quite big leaves that are like pitch black, and they're really beautiful. So I bought the plant based on how I wanted it to look in the future, and then I proceeded to kind of neglect it and not give it the right opportunity to grow that big. So that's why I want to change that now. And I also found a picture they'll put on the screen of how this plant looked when I bought it, and it has this definitely different leaf shape where the leaves are very elongated, and I'm thinking that might be kind of a more juvenile form, and that it is actually more mature now because of the leaf shape. It's just really small. So that's kind of interesting. And also, you know what, I want to show you something too. This is a cutting that I took from the same plant, and this is the biggest leaf that I've ever seen it give me. And it was a top cutting. The higher these plants climb, the bigger leaves they have. But this is so small compared to the growth that these philodendron royal queen can actually give you. Also, look at these two plants together. I don't know why, but these colors look so good together. I don't know what this plant is. I haven't figured it out yet, but this is kind of a satisfying little jar of cuttings. So I'm gonna do a little time lapse probably of me just giving this a bigger moss bowl. I think I'm gonna keep it in the same pot. Usually for these types of things, when you have a moss pole, you don't need the pot to be very big. And also, this pot is only like half full. I don't know if you can see that, but this could be filled up more if need be. So I will come back to you in a second with the new moss pole. I just gave it a massive moss pole, absolutely crazy, and I think that this will definitely help me achieve that huge growth that I want. It has so much room to climb now, and hopefully as it climbs, the leaves will start to get bigger and bigger, and also more black. I'll try to give it really high light too, because I believe with a lot of plants that can turn purple or black, they usually do it when they're under a lot of sun stress. So I will try to give it a lot of light too. But my prediction for this one for April is that I will have some huge leaves on it, but not like huge, not like what you see in pictures of people's mature plants. I'm gonna guess that it will be maybe out to like here, like an inch or two bigger, but I believe they can get a lot bigger than that. We'll see, but I'm not an expert. I'm definitely just now kind of starting to get a handle on how to really take care of houseplants properly. And so we'll see. It might turn out that I did this completely wrong or something. This is the second plant for the video, 6-month plant before and after. This one I actually don't really have anything to do with it because I just recently put it on this moss pole. This one is another philodendron. I forget if I said that, but I don't know what it is. I got it in a philodendron's mystery box. So if you know what it is, definitely let me know. Or if you have any ideas. I'm not sure if it's big enough to tell exactly what it is yet, or maybe it is. I don't know much about philodendrons. Yeah, I got this philodendrons mystery box because I had a coupon on Mercari a long time ago and it was a good deal. So I don't know what it is. This is an example of a more mature leaf because this is the original leaf that was part of the cutting. So it has this really neat like horns situation going on. And then these are all the ones it's given me since I've had it, which are definitely more immature form because it doesn't have the horns. But they do have this super red underside on the leaves. It is so cool. I know the lighting is so bad right now. Hopefully you can see it good. Since I just recently put it on this moss pole, it hasn't given any new growth yet since then. This one is gonna unroll very soon, but I'm hoping that this one will also give really big growth. Lots of these philodendrons, as far as I know, can get pretty large. Even if it gets like this and that's all, I would still prefer this, the interesting shape. April, I'll definitely be looking to see if it's giving growth more like this. So I don't have really anything to do with this one. I think I'm gonna create a little hole here in the moss pole because there's this big old aerial root here. I could put that in there and angle this upright a little bit more. But I've got some of these aerial roots guided in there. And this needs a water as well. Well, the dirt is okay, but the moss pole needs a water. And yeah, so that's it for this one. Let me know what the heck you think it is. Maybe it's obvious. It's probably obvious. I really don't know anything about philodendrons at all. So yeah. Alright, plant number 3 is another mystery philodendron from that philodendron mystery box. This one is another situation, you can see it right away, where, wait a second, I just saw this. What the heck? I think that's just the leaf sheath or something, but it looks kind of weird. Anyway, this is another funny situation where the moss pole is so small. It's like, why did I ever give it this tiny, what the heck even is this? This isn't even a moss pole. Like, what even is this? I don't know. But anyway, I don't know, we all make mistakes when we're doing something new. It's funny. Anyway, another interesting thing about this plant that you may have seen is this situation. This leaf was attacked by a mystery assailant in my house. Some kind of bug must have done this. It's like 3 very symmetrical cuts, and when I found it, it was actually folded like this. Look at how these 2 pieces come together so perfectly because of the cut. And it was held together by just the tiniest bit of like silk or webbing or something, and there was nobody in there. I just took it apart and there was nothing. No eggs, no larva, no spider, there was just nothing there. And then it happened one more time to one of my other plants, and there was nothing there that time either. I just took it apart. Have you ever had this happen? I don't know, this is crazy. I tried looking it up and I could not get a result of anything like this. So, I don't know, that's weird. For this one, this leaf I think was the original, because look how big it is, the original one with the cutting that I got. However, I did see a picture of this one in my camera roll from a long time ago, where all I had was a stake, not like this little weird moss pole, and it was growing these huge leaves that I don't think are these ones. I think they've since died, but I was really surprised when I saw that, because this philodendron is so not picky. Like, it just doesn't even care. It could be in the worst situation ever, and it's just like, well, that kind of sucks, but I'm gonna grow huge leaves. I'm gonna grow super fast anyway. So I don't know what this one is. Let me know in the comments if you know, but whatever it is, I strongly recommend it because wow, it grows so fast and so good despite being in whatever the heck this is. Now, I don't think, unfortunately, a big old moss pole would fit in this pot because it's quite tall and not very wide, so I'm gonna have to repot this too into a bigger pot, but that's fine because it grows so fast. I know that it will grow into it, so it's no big deal. And hopefully, since this plant does so well under not so great conditions, imagine what it will do when it's in the best conditions with, you know, a good soil and a huge moss pole. Hopefully it will do really great things in the next 6 months, and I'll have an awesome update for you. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to do some maintenance. Okay, take a look at this. I was saying I'd have to repot it because of the moss pole. Little did I know, it could have used a repot anyway. I mean, this plant is crazy. How is this possible? I swear I did not give it this tiny moss pole that long ago. And wow, I mean, here I was trying to break this apart to save the roots that were in here. I don't need to save those roots. This is crazy, it has enough roots. Alright, here's this plant's new situation. And as you can see, my workstation is getting more and more covered in dirt. Here it is. I found this good pot for it that has a little matching water thing, so that's cool. I think this definitely looks better. I think this is going to cause this plant to have bigger growth too. But honestly, when I was making this moss pole, I was starting to think maybe it should have been even bigger. I don't know, it's tough to say with these things. I think it would be really funny if I look back on this video, or like during my update in 6 months, I'm like, look at these tiny moss poles, I can't believe I was making such tiny moss poles, and it's like the same thing all over again. But I think this is a good enough size that it could be like extendable while keeping the width, you know. So as the plant, you know, if hopefully the plant does start getting super huge, super gigantic leaves, I can just, you know, get more screen and just make it taller without making it thicker. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, my prediction for this one, I'm gonna have to say, based on how fast it grows and the growth it's given me before, I'm gonna have to say that my prediction is that we're gonna have leaves on it looking like this, about this big, just like the original leaf. And if not that, I think it will be close. This is done for now. This is set, ready to go under a light and be checked on in 6 months. I'm just gonna water it, and then we will move on to the next plant. Alright, for the next plant in this video, we have a pretty sad looking alocasia frydek. After doing some research, it seems like lots of people's frydeks end up looking like this. It's just a little bit of a tricky plant. It's not very easy, and it has a tendency to drop leaves all the time. A new leaf will start coming out, and then it will immediately drop another leaf. Anybody who's kept alocasia knows that that's like just what happens. But I think the issue with mine is the soil. When I first tried alocasias, I had no idea what I was doing, and I think I just used topsoil. Then I started using topsoil and perlite, and I think for this one, it looks like I used some bark, some like organ bark, and some topsoil and perlite. But it's just, I don't know. I don't think this plant is liking it. And another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it to terracotta. Terracotta, since it's porous, it dries out the plant quicker. Not that alocasias like to be dry, but I think the key with it might be to set it up like a succulent, but then frequently water it. The reason I'm trying this is because I heard from somebody on Reddit, so I don't know, but I heard from somebody that alocasias thrive on slopes. So if you think about it, it rains and lots of water, you know, your alocasia is like this on the slope. It rains a lot and lots of water passes through the roots of the plant, but it doesn't settle there. It settles lower. So, you know, it gets watered, but then it dries out quickly. And then it rains, it gets watered again, and then it dries out quickly. So, you know, they definitely don't tolerate being dry, but it's like they also don't like being wet. So I think that's the situation, but we'll see. In the same video, we'll see. So yeah, terracotta. And for the soil medium, for the first time in my life, I bought peat moss. So I accidentally bought like a lot of it, 2 bags that were bigger than I thought they were gonna be. So I'm gonna try to kind of mix everything that I have a little bit, and try to make it real chunky and kind of loose, and so lots of oxygen can get in there and dry it out. So yeah, I'll see you in a second. So for this alocasia frydek, I didn't do a time lapse because my phone was about to die, so I just plugged it in. But I ended up doing a mix of peat moss, perlite, aquarium gravel, and worm castings, which is a pretty crazy combination. But like I said, this is going to be experimental, because this plant, I forgot to mention, I've had this plant for like 2 years at this point, and it has never gotten, the leaves have never gotten any bigger than this. And if you've ever seen alocasia frydeks before, they can definitely get leaves like this long. And once they do get that big, they have much more contrast and they look a little bit better than this. So I think that this will end up drying out faster, which is good. I'll update you in the 6 months. But the terracotta, also this terracotta pot doesn't look very good. It was outside, so I don't know what is on it. It's kind of like the golden color, but I think it's fine. Also, I want to mention that when I was repotting this, there was an entire centipede in the soil, which is probably a good thing that it was healthy enough, the soil was healthy enough to support a whole centipede living here. And it's still in there, as far as I know. I think it's still in there. For the prediction for this one, I'm gonna have to say I'm not that confident about it. I think it's probably gonna end up staying the same, but we'll see. That's the key with this alocasia thing, is just to probably try out different things until I find good results in the climate of my house and everything. Also, there's a little label I'll put on the new pot now. Alright, for the next plant in this video, this one I also got in the same philodendron mystery box I was talking about earlier, but I didn't know what it was. but I tried to Google image search it, and it came up as not a philodendron, but actually a pothos. So it's Epiprinum pinnatum albovariegata is what Google said it is, and that looks pretty correct to me when I looked at the pictures. I wouldn't be surprised if it was wrong though, so if you know what it is, let me know. I'm gonna put this one on a moss pole as well, because it's, number one, it's possible it is a philodendron that's just in a juvenile form, and in that case it would appreciate a moss pole, but also pothos can be grown on moss pole too, and it can cause the leaves to get way bigger. And when I did look up this plant, I did see some people growing it on moss pole in order to get really large leaves. So that's what I'm going to do, and hopefully I'm not going to make the mistake of making the moss pole super small again, because when I made the moss pole for those other plants where it ended up being way too small, it was because the plant was really small at the time. But it's just not a good idea to make moss poles so small like that, because the plant is going to outgrow it so quickly. So I'm going to repot this too, because obviously this pot cannot support a large moss pole, and I bet it's ready to be repotted anyway. So I'll do time lapse and then I'll see you in a second. Alright, here's this plant's updated situation. I ran into an issue with making the moss pole really huge, which is just that the more I was thinking about it, I actually didn't want to give this plant way too big of a pot, because then it would stay wet for a longer period of time and possibly have issues with rot. So I made this compromise of making the moss pole very thin. That way it could fit in a smaller pot. So as you can see, this is the world's first ever compressed moss pole. Not really, but I'm sure somebody has done this before. But it doesn't take up as much room for the plant. Therefore, it's able to use a smaller pot, and hopefully the soil will not stay wet for too long. Also, this plant is still so small that I couldn't even really attach this part with the aerial roots to the moss pole yet. So I just attached one of these leaves with a zip tie to the moss pole just to hold it up a little bit and encourage it to grow up. And then once it starts reaching the moss pole, I'll cut a hole. So for the 6-month prediction for this one, I'm honestly not expecting too much, because of the fact that I bet when I make the update, it's only just going to be reaching the moss pole at all. So it won't be able to really get benefit from that until it gets a little bit bigger. But considering it had no support in this pot, it's possible that it will still start growing bigger, just because it might be encouraged to go up a little bit. And it's not like flopping around. It's very secure now to the moss pole. So yeah, my prediction, I don't know, maybe the new leaves will be a little bit bigger, maybe, let's say. Here is the crazy final plant for this video, and this will be arguably the most difficult one to do maintenance on. This one is a regular syngonium with no variegation or anything, and honestly, what I want to do to it is put it on a moss pole, which is a big surprise there, because it's just getting so crazy. It's so large, but it has no direction. I have, as you can see, maybe, there's this little stake that they're all connected to, but not in a normal way. They're not going straight up, they're kind of going everywhere. It's multiple plants that are in there. And honestly, I didn't have much of a problem with this, especially because it actually goes right here with these other plants right now, and you couldn't really tell it was this messy since it wasn't on its own. It was just a nice bushy presence right there. But what happened is I was thinking about including this one in the video and changing it a little bit, And then I was looking through my camera roll to see if I could find old pictures of these plants that are in this video. And I found an old picture of this plant not long after I got it, and it looked so much better. It was much smaller, but it was nice and neat, and it was just so beautiful. And I was like, yeah, I need to change this. I wish it still looked like that, which means I'm not happy with this setup, and I'm gonna change it. So for this one, I'm not really expecting the leaves to get bigger. I mean, they're already a good size for syngonium, I think. If you look right here, as far as I know, these plants don't get very big leaves. But what I can do is just make the plant look nicer and neater. And a moss pole or any kind of stake that's bigger than this is an easier way to make a plant look nicer. I've also recently realized that I think the key to making plants look nice together in a big group is actually to look at them all individually and change them so that they all look good individually and then put them together. So I think changing this one will make it look better among other plants as well. Of course, it won't be bushy anymore, but there's plenty of other plants that can do that, and I don't think syngoniums are supposed to be bushy. I don't know. I mean, I'll have to look up some pictures to see how people grow them, but I think moss pole is pretty typical. I don't know. Maybe I'll look it up real quick before I actually do the time lapse and do something to it just to make sure that's how I want to do it. Also, I think I'm going to do some chopping here because, I don't know, I'll have to look at the plants individually, but I think a few of them have lost a lot of their lower leaves, which is part of why you can see so many stems going on here. So if any of them look like they don't have a lot of leaves, I will chop them and kind of start it over and propagate the cutting and then add it back onto the moss pole. I'm also gonna obviously do a bigger pot for this. I mean, this is ready to be repotted. Whether or not I would put it on a moss pole, this needs a bigger, oh my gosh, and yeah, this is, here's the proof. We got roots coming out the bottom of it. All right, here's the syngonium after all the work I did. This took forever. So I repotted it, I put it on a big moss pole, and it was really difficult to get this plant up the moss pole. As you can see, I had to use so many different zip ties. Oh, I'm gonna be so careful picking this up. I had to use so many different zip ties because of the way the plant was growing before. Since it had no support, it was growing taller, but then just flopping over. And then the stem was kind of hardening in that position. So it was like permanently curved. So as I was trying to pick it up and put it up the moss pole, it was just trying to curve off to the side. And that's why you can see all of this foliage pointing downwards. Hopefully this will change, but it might not. I don't know if these leaves that are, you know, already here are gonna change positioning, or if it'll just be the new ones will come out more normal. So I don't know if I really like it like this right now, because it just, something looks so unnatural about it. You can tell that it didn't grow up this moss pole, but it was instead put on the moss pole. I also found out that this was only 2 plants, which is kind of crazy because it looked like a lot more than that. But one of them was just putting out a bunch of offshoots and the other one wasn't. I did end up cutting off one of those offshoots off the bigger plant because there just was not enough room for it to climb up this moss pole, since all of those shoots were so close together at the base. It was just kind of awkward and weird. So I'm gonna put this in water and propagate it that way. And then after it's rooted, I might try to put it back in here and squeeze it in to make this even more bushy. Or I might actually try to sell it or something. I'm not sure, because I honestly don't know if I can fit it in here. Anyway, this one is the last plant for this video, so I'll see you early April. Alright, it's May 5th, so I'm actually like a week late. in making this update, but pretty much it's been 6 months now, so I have some updates for you on the plants. This is how the philodendron royal queen is. It's definitely taller. It's obviously grown some new leaves. It looks really dirty, like it has a bunch of water spots on it. I don't know why, but it really happens with this plant. Like, I'll spray my plants with neem oil or whatever, and this is the one that gets all the water spots on it. But it did put out this black leaf that's bigger than the other ones. It's decently big. I don't know how I didn't notice this when I was recording the first part. I just rewatched it so I could remember what was going on. But when I cut it away from like the tiny little moss pole, it wasn't rooted into it at all. Like, it just came right away. So I was thinking, I wonder if this will even root into this new one. And I don't know if it did. I think it did. I can see aerial roots. I'll do a close-up. I think it actually did. Hopefully it's actually getting benefit from this. So did it see an explosion in growth? No. I still don't think, I don't know. This one basically stayed the same for me. Like, it just grew a little bit, didn't really do anything that interesting, and I just kind of ignored it. Oh, also I forgot to say, I know that the microphone is upside down, but I've been recording some videos with the microphone the right way, and it keeps like bumping into my chin, and it was so annoying. It was really making me so mad. So it's just gonna be upside down. I don't care, so that it doesn't hit my chin. So yeah, that's all it did. In 6 months, that's what it did. We've got better and we've got worse in the lineup. Number 2 is this one, this mystery philodendron. I'm really happy about this one and what it's done. It hasn't dropped any leaves. Look, here's that big one that I was talking about and showing. Actually, this was kind of dirty too. What the heck, man? I need to just clean my plants, but it hasn't dropped any leaves, and it's put out multiple new ones, and they're bigger, and they've got the horns. Look at it. It's so beautiful. It's so amazing. Let me try to remember here. I don't remember how many it had in that video, but I think, all right, so yeah, it regressed for a second when it was adjusting to the new situation, because this one came out, which has a little bit of horns, but if you look at the stem here, you'll see that the next one that came out was actually this one, which does not have the horns. So it was briefly stressed by the new pot and moss pole and stuff, but it really quickly adjusted because the next one that came out after that was this one. So once it kind of settled in, it obviously was really happy about it, and this is the newest one obviously that just came out. That's why it's like super bright green. And check out the backs of the leaves. It's super cool. This is like, and there's already another leaf coming out. It's growing so fast. It's like twice as big. I don't think it has twice as many leaves, but it's close. Like, it literally looks twice as big. This one I'm really impressed by. I'm really happy with it. I still don't know what it is, so let me know if you know what it is. So yeah, I rooted in right away, and it's actually one of my favorite plants in my collection right now, whatever it is, because it's just been so easy and it's so beautiful. It's just so good in every way. It's amazing. Oh, I forgot I was gonna say like what I'm gonna do with the plants moving forward. First of all, I'm gonna keep making these videos, these plant before and after, so these same plants might reappear, and I'll just do like another 6 months comparison. But for the Royal Queen, I think I'm leaving both of these the exact same way they are right now. This mystery one still has some ways to go. Once it gets up to here, I'll probably chop and propagate it into the same pot and try to make it even fuller. I don't know, I mean, it doesn't even look like it needs to be any fuller than this though. So, I don't know, but for now, I'm gonna leave these both the way they are. Okay, number 3, the next one. This is the most impressive one. Look at this. This one, this is the other mystery philodendron, and this one is, I think, is my favorite plant right now in my collection because it's just like, I can't even believe that this happened. I put this little glow-in-the-dark firefly on it, which is cute. But this is so cool. This one also did not drop any leaves. Here's the original one. It looks like it's on its way out. It's like yellowing a little bit, but that's understandable. None of the other ones have dropped. Here's that one with the weird cuts. It's still here. But so yeah, what happened with this one is it also had a brief adjustment phase where I think this little one here, it was on its way out when I filmed the first part of this video. Because I noticed there was a leaf coming out. And when it came out, I was like, oh my goodness, it's so tiny. Because the one before this that came out was this one. So you can tell the immediate difference. But I didn't let it worry me because I figured it was just adjusting, and I was right. Because the next one, you know, I just noticed this one. I don't know how old this one is actually. Because it's ambiguous here. But I think the next one that came out after the little baby one was this one. Was this big one, and I was impressed by this when it came out. This is almost as big as the original leaf, but not quite. It took forever. This one does take forever. Like, the leaves will be furled up for a very long time while they're growing. The other philodendron I just showed, the leaves come out much faster, but still, this was so exciting. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so big, it's so pretty. And then this one just came out. I'm actually kind of glad that that I'm late a little bit to this video because it allowed this leaf to grow a little bit more so that you can see how big and beautiful it is. I forget if I said, but it is bigger than the original one. It's so big. It's like, it's got this really nice heart shape. As you can see, the difference between the top of the stem and the top of the leaf, there's like this big crescent here that like the other ones didn't really have. So it's showing a more mature form, and it's so pretty. And it like just came out. I think it might even still be growing a little bit, but like, here's my hand for comparison. It's so big, and this plant is so awesome. Like, I think it might be, what was it that I thought it might be? A lemon lime philodendron I heard of, and it does kind of look like that, but I don't know. And right now that's fine because it's doing so well. I don't need to know anything more about it really, except that it's really pretty. Look at it bouncing around. I probably shouldn't do that. I'm gonna like break it or something. But this one also has so much more room to climb. It's like, really, the leaves are coming out very close to each other, which is really good because it's gonna give it a more bushy appearance. Like, by the time it gets up here, I couldn't even imagine how huge it would be compared to this pot and this pole, because it's, come on now, it's really grown like nothing, and it's rooted into the moss pole really good. I'm not going to change anything about the way it is because it's clearly happy like that. So yeah, that's that one. Okay, the next update I have is the worst one, which is the fry deck. It literally just died. Do not use the weird experimental soil mix that I tried. That was obviously not what this plant wanted at all. Also, like, it was bothering me. So this died recently. Like, I would have just taken these out of here and not kept it like this. But since I was about to make the video, I just left it for the video. I would say it died like 2 weeks ago. But every time I looked at it, I was like, why did I not bury this? Like, when you repot an alocasia, you should bury all of this bare stem because there's so many nodes that can grow roots from there. So it could have grown like new roots and stuff. I don't know why I didn't do that. But yeah, this just did not do well. It put out new leaves, it dropped its old leaves, and continued to do that until it just ran out of energy and died. But I am going to check this for corms. So, did I talk about this in the first part? I don't think I did. Did I look for corms in that video? Okay, I actually can't remember if when I repotted it, I
like checked the soil for corms and found corms, or if I just took all the dirt and put it in this pot. So we will look together for corms in here, and if there are any, I'll plant them. Maybe I already looked and there were none, or what. I think what I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna try to get a like more mature, like kind of more established fry deck and try with that, because I think one that's already kind of doing better could withstand like me learning it, and I might be like I'm gonna try again and see, because I really want to grow that plant. It's a really beautiful plant, and I don't know. I want to like master it. Like I want to figure it out. If I could go back in time, instead of doing this, I would have definitely put it in semi-hydro, because I'm gonna give you spoilers for another plant before and after that I filmed the first part of. But I have this other this alocasia platinum bisma, and I put it in semi-hydro, like super recently, because it was also not doing well, and it already put out this really cute little healthy leaf in here, and it's two plants, and the one that put out this leaf is the one that was looking worse. So I definitely would have tried that with the fry deck, and maybe it would have worked. So that's what I would do. That's how I'm gonna try to do alocasias for now. So yeah, do not do this. We learned our lesson here. Do not do it. It died. Now for the fancy pothos. This one did pretty well. It got 2 new leaves. The first one was the biggest at the time and is fully formed and like so beautiful. I'll do a close up. It looks so good. The amount of different colors is crazy. And then the most recent one that came out looks like something went wrong, but it's something weird. It's deformed. It's like super long, but it's really like one side of it is especially, I don't know, maybe it dried out when it was forming or what. But this is not like, it's not like it yellowed and then I cut it or whatever. It came out just like that. So that's kind of weird. But something that I think is funny is that it's just now starting to reach the moss pole, which is like exactly what I said in that video. I said like when I made a prediction, I was like, I think it'll be just now reaching the moss pole, and it is. So it hasn't dropped any leaves or anything. I think it's doing fine. I'm not going to change anything. I think it will probably start growing faster when it starts rooting into the pole. And I think this one with the messed up leaf was probably just a fluke. My guess is that it dried out. So I probably just wasn't keeping it wet enough at a certain point, and that happened. But I'm pretty happy with it. It's pretty cute. It's really small, so I don't really look at it much at all. It's kind of hidden, but a pretty cool one, and I still don't know what it is. All right, now for the last update, the syngonium, and look how beautiful and amazing it is. It's got some dead leaves I gotta remove here, but I couldn't believe it when I looked back at the video and I saw how scraggly and sad it looked on the moss pole. It was like going in all directions and stuff. Luckily, it really started pointing upward very quickly towards the light, so it's not doing all that leaning and such anymore, and it just looks so much more full. I think it's taller too. It's doing really good, despite the fact that it's actually not set up in the most ideal way on this moss pole. Basically, normally when I have a plant on a pole, I will watch how tall it is, and then once it gets up to a certain point, I'll cut out a hole for it, and then zip tie it more so that it has more access to grow the aerial roots into the pole. But with this one, there's so much chaos here that I actually can't really see and tell where to help it out at. And it's difficult because I was fighting for my life when I was first zip tying it. As you can see, look at all the zip ties. So some areas got zip tied that shouldn't have gotten zip tied. Like there's one here that I think it's zip tied right here where these where the nodes are, but there's no spot cut out for it underneath in the moss ball. Like this must have been zip tied because it just kept falling over and I needed to keep it up. So because of that, it is not doing anything there. It's a wasted opportunity there. But it's just difficult because it's so, yeah, it's just so bushy and it's in the way. I haven't done any kind of like trying to fill out the back of it. I think I mentioned that in the video that I wanted to do that. And I still kind of do, maybe. But like I said, it's just difficult to manage this plant. It's such an unruly one that I just can't, like, it's not like the philodendrons where they just go straight up. It's one plant, the leaf, it's one after the other, and then it's whatever. This one is like, I can't even tell what's happening anymore, but all I know is that it looks good. It looks pretty the way that it is, so it's probably fine. It looks happy, pretty much, so it's good. So that's the update. That's what 6 months looks like for some of my plants. Like I said, I'm doing more of these, so I've got 2 part 1s already filmed that we're just waiting for time to pass, and I'm gonna keep up on them and make more of them. So follow if you're interested in plants, reptiles, fish, and bugs, and like everything that falls into that category. Also, I know there's like no overlap at all in these interests, but I have this channel that I'll link in the description called Playlist by Lee, and it's sort of just like a fandom channel where I'm posting about my favorite characters, and I have 2 really long playlists that I made. One of them is an Am playlist, Am from I Have No Mouth and I'm a Scream, and the other one is HAL 9000 from 2001: A Space Odyssey. So if you're interested in like robot characters, I know there's like there's no overlap at all. Like that's not even, but I'm linking it in the description anyway, and like every single one of my videos. So go check out that channel.
You have offended me mightily.
So yeah, please subscribe. I have 23 subscribers. Please, somebody watch my channel. All right, bye.
Found out that this was only 2 plants. This was not, never mind, cut. A lineup of 6 plants, right? 1, 2, 3, no, it's only 5 plants. Hi, anybody who sees this. This is my first YouTube video. Oh fuck, that was so cringe. It was this messy since it wasn't on its own. It was just kind of a nice, bushy foliage right there. Oh, foliage. It was just trying to curve off to the side and everything, and that's why you can see all this